You've gone too far from the starting point. Hold on to your dream. Hold on to your dream. Fellow citizens, humanity. Open forum is here for you as a lifeline. Citizen MKO says, hold on to your dreams. Come on and hold on to your dream. Your dream is your strength. Hold on to your dream. Your dream is your currency. Hold on to your dream. Your dream is your immunity.
Here you are. You are immune from anything that will make you ignorant. You are immune from anything that will make you vulnerable. If you are vulnerable over any issue, you can send that issue to us and let Open Forum with Citizen MKO, the Ideas Bank for development, state and nation building. Here we go to roots of issues. We are solutionists. And today we have the second person in the history of Open Forum to score a hat trick of being a guest 3 times almost in a row. And you know why we do this. We do this because we don't jump about issues. We try to get to the root of it. And when you have one of the brightest minds around, you try to get as much as you can from such a person. We are so blessed to be on Open Forum with Citizen MKO on Memories 96.5 FM. We are broadcasting from Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, and we say Akwa Ibom is the Nigeria's capital of visionary leadership. No mincing words. That's our coinage. And on this edition of Open Forum with Citizen MKO, we are so blessed to have distinguished Professor Ntiero Omoren, who's a professor of decision sciences, and he's the co-chairman of the Akwa Ibom Professor Pan H. Ekpo Public Policy Center in the University of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. And we are going to look at majorly 2 issues, but there are some tidbits because I would never allow Prof to go without sharing his thoughts, even 1 minute, 2 minutes on 1 or 2 issues, which some of them we are going to carry on during other editions to be able to exhaust and treat it properly. And as usual, as you know, on Open Forum with Citizen MKO, we normally do a rundown of what transpired on the last edition of Open Forum, which was on the 10th of March 2025. And I think before I do that, we need to welcome Prof because of the importance of having him deal with some of these issues, we need to keep aside the humanitarian case we will have brought today. But I said no, Prof is going to have the full time. So, Prof, you are welcome once again to Open Forum with Citizen MKO.
Thank you. I am glad to be here.
Yeah, we are streaming live. You'll be watching us online on Open Forum with Citizen MKO on Facebook, and we are also streaming live on Memories 965 FM, also on Facebook. And you're going to have this on YouTube. You'll have them broken down to issues. And let me just add this. Some of our followers online, you have to bear with us. We've not been able to do some updates, labeling of the number of videos. We have tons of videos that we are going to label them properly and share them widely. And at the end of the day, you see some of the documentaries we've done on some issues which we have not released yet. I can assure you that no matter what, there's no way you go to open Forum Muslim KO on Facebook or YouTube without being enlightened. The challenge we have is that we lack manpower, we lack the resources, but we don't give excuses. We do the best that we can to keep going. I'm not boasting. I do the work of 3 to 5 people every day of my life, and if you know what that means, it means a whole lot. But no excuses. Despite the accolades we get from a number of persons, I can tell you with all honesty, we are still operating within just 5% of our capacity. Imagine if we are able to operate 25% of our capacity. Imagine what will happen. So, without wasting time, because today will be Issues Day. Last week, one of the resolutions that we arrived at was that Akwa Ibom State delegation to Mr. President was more of a political reconciliation for partisan interest that could have been held without traditional and religious leaders in attendance. I shared with us information that the 4 major people involved, Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our governor we love so much, and we're doing everything to make sure we succeed. Pastor Umobaseno, PhD, I call him, or we call him Forum so far, he's compassion personified. He was there. The former governor, who is the Senate President, this new Senator Godswill Akpabio, was there, and the immediate past governor of the state, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, was there. We learned that they had an over 2-hour meeting privately with Mr. President before coming out for the rest. And people say Moreken, which obviously included our royal father. The religious leaders who were there, they had to wait for the political meeting to take place, and former governor and current Senate President came clear on what they did. He said it was the first time the Blue and White River or so met, that it was reconciliation, it was political, it was to give assurance to Mr. President that he has people behind him and they are going to support His Excellency for second term. That was pure politics, and that was pure mediation. And so to have mediation go to take place in a foreign land still shows the vacuum that we have here, which we have been raising alarm that we need to work on our mediation mechanisms. We are not doing well at all. Some of us who have been there, who are still there as victims of some persons who feel they can do and undo. We're humans, citizens are subjects. We know what we are talking about. So please, we respect the traditional institution, religious institution, let politics be politics, and let governance be governance. The other thing we talked about was that the media reports on allegation of corruption against former Governor Udom Emmanuel on any or any other person does not constitute media trial. What constitutes media trial or trials are pronouncements of guilt or innocence by supporters or the public. That we made that clear. And one of the things we said was that we should stop using human shield to protect one from giving account. And nobody should ever want to get close to public office if they're not ready to be accountable. Nobody. Anybody that says they don't want to be accountable while you're in public office, just so that person is nothing but a thief. We'll call a spade by what it's known. So, His Excellency had made some remarks because of the NACAT petition to EFCC over Udom Emmanuel, and he has said, even there's a paper here which you say Udom's 700 billion EFCC case. I don't know where the petitioners got the figures from, Omoino. And we are streaming. For those online, you can see it. And there's much more to that because some have carried that media trial should stop. And we just want to say this because before even the governor spoke, we've seen some aides who have brought ethnicity to the quest for accountability and then to say that to even write news about it becomes media trial. No, media trial is when you say the person is guilty or the person is not guilty. That is media trial. But to give invisible report, nobody can silence that. In fact, the more people want to silence that, they will get like a local palace water. Prof will have his very brief take on this, and then we also said that the legislature should be guided by court judgments, barring suspension of legislators beyond 14 days. Natasha Akpabio feud. She was suspended for 6 months. Everything stripped from her, including even the title, whereas we know that once you're a senator, always a senator. No suspension should even contemplate that in the first place. Well, we're not going to the details because it's getting more messy by the day as Natasha went to IPU and now she's under investigation and she's fearing arrest. But be that as it may, one thing we've said from the beginning, while others were taking sides, we said this thing has been mismanaged from the onset. It should be addressed, and that's what we are still saying. Otherwise, people will shout at the end of the day, had I known. So the appeal court judgment, which has not been contested, is that no legislator, national or state or local government can suspend a legislator for more than 14 days, talk less of stripping her or him of every other thing. They called it tyranny of the majority against an elected minority. That is sufficient. We also said that President Bola Tinubu should intervene in the Akpabio versus Natasha face-off that is taking negative dimensions by the day. I don't add anything to that. And then the Akwa Ibom State government should intervene in a land-grabbing saga reportedly going on at Ekpiri Sukara Fort and Ikot Anyanga Fort villages in Yolugu government area. We hosted a young man who is a victim here last week, and the things we heard borders on very serious raising security concerns that people will just come and take your land, and when you want to raise your voice, they frame charges on you, and that they have some persons in places who make sure that such people are nailed. We challenged him. If there are people like that they can bring forward, he said yes. I don't have update to that yet, but we are working on the ground, and we are also making correspondences available. Talking about correspondences, over the Quality Ceramics Limited, now Quality Ceramics Home Care Limited, bought by a co-investor who was accused Akikop of being grossly inefficient. That people they lack capacity, they don't even know why they are there and all of that. He was live on the program. We have done a letter to His Excellency that he should intervene, because having somebody put in hundreds of millions, maybe close to $1 billion, and then losing it because some things are not working right is unacceptable, and it's a son of the soil, and we are looking for local investors to make things happen in Akwa Ibom State. That is that about what transpired last week. Before I take the food for thought and thought for the week for food, Prof may have just one or two things to add, and then we go hit the ground running, as they say. Yes, Prof, you heard what we did last week. You were here. Like they normally say, is there anything you want to add or subtract, or is there any error in what I've read out?
I think you're totally in order. And let me thank you again for having me.
You're welcome, sir.
On a very light note, I'm a little curious about this last name that we have given to our executive governor.
Yeah.
An amiable young man, a very interesting individual.
Yes.
A man who is committed to doing good at all levels.
He's trying, he's doing his best.
Why have you suddenly given him a fourth last name? I get a little uncomfortable.
Compassion personified.
No.
Which one?
When I hear people say Pastor Umo Basi Eno,
Okay.
PhD.
Okay.
Which means he is the brother to millions and gazillion people around the world who also possess the PhD degree.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't sound ethical to me. And I think Pastor Bueno, that I knew before he became governor,
Yes.
is a very decent young man.
So what should we do?
And I would discourage. Yes, he holds a respectable PhD from a credible university.
Yes.
But why should we keep calling him PhD? It sounds like his last name.
So we make it Doctor.
Whatever he wants. I recall many years back when Senator Godswill Akpabio was addressed as Barrister Godswill Akpabio.
He objected to it.
At some point he said, just call me Godswill Akpabio. That's who I am. And then we had the man that succeeded him. We began by calling him Deacon Udom Gabriel Emmanuel. At some points in his life as the governor, he dropped the title of Deacon. But I just find calling our governor PhD as a bit of insult. Should address him as either pastor or more that he was before he became governor, and before he acquired the PhD, or you address him as Dr. Umar Basigino. That would bring some civility.
Prof, before you go on, I want to thank you so very much. I personally had issues with that. I recall, when I was given PhD, I think I was there at Adamawa or so. He said it ended right there.
Yeah, but that's different. That's a little different.
Okay.
Obonta was given
honorary
PhD.
Yes, but some people, most people parade themselves as
true.
Yeah.
Pastor Umar Basigino attended lectures.
And
earned a PhD, no doubt about that.
Now the official pictures. Do we have one in the studio here? I think we need to find out, because officially that has been addressed. So sometimes I am different anyway. But I see myself forcing myself to add this. At times I don't add it. At times in my document I just say Dr. Umar Eno. For the benefit of listeners, for the benefit of those in government, that is why we say that Open Forum is an ideas bank. Is a public policy center. Please, handlers of His Excellency, somebody is going to get a contract to replace the official pictures that will be carrying Pastor Omoino PhD. And media houses should please know that, because we have just heard that from a professor of decision sciences. That is official. That's one of our contributions. On other issues, we just have a short take, because we are hitting the ground running and our listeners are going to join us today.
I am particularly interested in the issue of media trial. Every individual that is accused of anything is by all accounts considered innocent until proven guilty. And the media and even citizens have a right to discuss such accusations without providing any judgmental statement.
That's right.
If you decide to be judgmental, then that qualifies as media trial.
That's right.
But if you discuss it generally, attempting to understand the gives and takes of the issue, it does not in any way constitute media trial.
That's right. And if one also says that the person is not guilty,
that is
a media trial.
Media trial. That's right.
It's sealed. So, I think.
Let me also add this.
Okay.
Governor Udom Gabriel Emmanuel served this state for 8 years.
Plus 2 years as SSG.
That's right.
Yeah, make it 10 years.
But let me stay with the 8 years as governor.
That's right.
When he was totally in charge. He did the best within the limits
of his ability.
Capacity. So, if someone rises up from somewhere and raises accusations to the fact that he stole, let me use the word stole, 700 billion. And the custodian of data,
yes,
the current governor,
yes,
is questioning the source of that data.
Yes.
I think we are better off listening for more details to comment either way. But we have a right as citizens to ask questions. Could this be true? Could this be right?
That's right.
How did they get to do this? These are all within the limits.
Prof, just to add to that, you see, we do not want His Excellency to be under any pressure or to be distracted.
No.
Now, the petitioner, because we've been following up the conversation, is alleging that 1.5 trillion cannot be accounted for. He has also alleged that Udom Emmanuel collected loans worth 500 billion. Loans. He also owed contractors up to 300 billion. And misappropriated funds, according to the NACAT, Victor Fejiro or Fejiro Victor, whichever comes first, said 700 billion. And the petition is documented. And some accounts have been traced and tagged. It is a lot when somebody is going to EFCC. And he also is a partner with the FCC. He's also a partner with some other organizations like that. It becomes difficult for anybody, even exactly to waive it, because anybody that has gone to that route must be prepared. People like us, I said that, I just want to say an example. I have been here and there because I've been involved in a number of things. I have seen a number of things. I wrote a number of letters having to do with even corruption in Akwa Ibom State. Nobody in government is interested in fighting corruption. They don't even talk about it. But there's corruption going on. We can't deny that. Like when Usum said in church that he has not taken 1 naira of Akwa Ibom money, that he doesn't near it. And then everything that's collected ends here. People clapped. I said so last week. And I looked at the people that clapped. And I felt sorry for even the governor that spoke. Having people that could clap. When some of them were even complaining. People in government, they talk. The employee bearer came from that administration, which His Excellency has dealt with the employee bearer mentality. Anybody in government that open his mouth anywhere the same employee bearer, that person is done for, because Pastor Moen doesn't want to hear that. Even when he was a commissioner, he lashed out at them. He called them names somewhere when he was commissioning a market built by a councillor I think it's Rubio. So it is a very delicate matter, and because we are on ground, there are a lot of things that we know that we do, and we want it to be solved here. That's why we have advocated for a public complaint commission, public complaint and anti-corruption commission. Akwa Ibom Public Complaint and Anti-Corruption Commission. We need to have it in Akwa Ibom State, because anything EFCC collects officially, they take 30% administrative charge. So if you collect 1 billion, EFCC go back with 300 million. What would we do with 300 million, sir? So those are some of the enlightenment. Someday we'll do something. In fact, we have some documentaries we have done on certain things, not really on corruption, but putting records straight. We'll soon roll them out. No matter how tired I am, I know sometimes I faint, sometimes I get mobbed. As I can't even carry myself, I can't even feed, I'm almost fed, but we keep going. So let us leave those ones, because there are things you really wanted us to do today. And for the first time, consciously, because when you're dealing with an expert, you must get sense. Prof gave directive, we need to face this and that issue, and that is what we are going to do. And before we go into them, we want to take our thought for food and food for thought for the day. And it's from Benjamin Franklin. What did he say? He said, the only thing that is more expensive than education is ignorance. The only thing that is more expensive than education is ignorance. And other people will say, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. If you are listening to us or watching us from anywhere in the world, what you're going to hear from here, you can take them to the bank. We have never had to apologize to anybody over any matter we take here, because we are as thorough as we can be. And how thorough can we be if we do not just touch on something that is of tremendous concern to Nigeria? We want to touch national, then we come back home and dwell at home. The national, Nasir El-Rufai, the man that wrote a book called The Accidental Public Servant, he was one of those that went to Chatham House with Mr. President, and Mr. President called him out to come and address issue on a sector he openly said he was going to give him that sector to run. And that's the power sector. And you look back, Nasir El-Rufai, very vocal man, brilliant. And he has his nature too, that if you know some things about him, you may want to be close to him because of what perspective you may want to take. But he has never hidden his views. As we speak, he's under trial for misappropriating or stealing, allegedly stealing 400 and something billion and all of that. Even his, I think his commissioner was arrested some days ago. But he is so bold to start mobilizing people to go to another party. Why? Because the National Assembly failed to clear him as a minister, which he was promised openly, which he actually also worked for. And for some people that say agreement is agreement, agreement is no longer agreement here. And Nasir El-Rufai has moved to the SDP, and big shots are moving along. Some big names have been dropped. We are not after that now. I want to have the perspective from our Professor of Digital Sciences, looking at the role Nasir played to bring Tinubu to power, and the fact that National Assembly failed to clear him on allegation of security report. And we in Open Forum have said, if there is a security report that could not allow Nasir El-Rufai, who has been a minister, who has been a two-term governor, who has been a DPP Director General, not to be cleared, why is he not standing trial? Prof.
We live in a beautiful country.
I love this.
Several individuals won't agree with me, but this is one of the most beautiful countries
I agree
in the
with you,
world.
Prof.
That's where you can get away with
Anything.
Now remember, this is a country where you cannot separate politics from governance. And these are separate issues. When you're dealing with governance, you are dealing with the entire society regardless of political affiliation. It is the interest of the people that you should be addressing in governance. But in politics, there is what they call political horse trading. Mr. President did his job while canvassing for the position of president. He got all the team members that could help him get there. Nasir El-Rufai happens to have been one of those individuals.
Frontline.
That's fine. But the little challenge there is, was he able to read Bola Ahmed Tinubu's
Body language.
Perhaps he did not. And maybe Bola Ahmed Tinubu read El-Rufai's body language far above and ahead of El-Rufai. He, I would assume, knows El-Rufai well enough to know that if he got him that close, he would be gunning for his job, which he is doing right now. But again, in a country where criminals can walk free, and anyone who calls them criminals can be jailed.
Hey, the code we took last
There
Monday.
is nothing you can really do to stop that. El-Rufai has moved to SDP. That is fine. It is within his right as a citizen of this country to belong to any party of his choice.
But I want your take on this. The National Assembly, Senate in particular, does a screen of ministers, gave a report that security reports for DSS is so terrible on Nasir that it cannot be cleared. But Nasir has come to say that it wasn't the National Assembly decision, that it was President Tinubu's decision not to have him become a minister. Now, let's take it that there is a security report. Why has the government not acted on such a security report? People are challenging that there is no security report. Others are saying there's a security report. What is your take on this?
Nasir El-Rufai was a key member of the APC. The executive is APC. And the Senate and the House of Assembly are all controlled by the APC. They choose who they want to work with. And as for labeling, anybody can be labeled. When Osama bin Laden, I beg your pardon, was being labeled a terrorist by the United States government, I asked this question. Was he carrying out these terrorist activities for the United States at some point in his life?
Or was he ever trained by the United
No,
States?
he was trained
By the United
and
States?
was carrying out the same terrorist activities for the United States. It was only when he now said, no, I need to be a man of my own. I need to help another country. Then he became
Became a
terrorist.
threat.
Now, Nasir El-Rufai
Worked for the APC.
Everybody has detailed reports in DSS archives. They can pull a report on Citizen MKO with several colorations.
That's true.
That of a clean gentleman from Akwa Ibom State, or a fugitive from Equatorial Guinea who just sought refuge in Akwa Ibom State. They twist and turn these things. So, if the dog handler and the dog do not speak the same language, there is nothing you and I can do.
I thank you, sir. We are moving to our two topics. His Excellency said something is important. I'm going to squeeze as much knowledge, understanding as we can from you for the benefit of society. We can't miss this. On the 24th of February, we listed on as one of our topics the press statement by the governor of Cross River State, Governor Basio II, that Cross River is working on recovering 76 oil wells that were sealed to Akwa Ibom by the Supreme Court. And we raised that issue, drew government attention. I'm talking to two experts. I'm unable to bring them yet, but because there's more to that very story. But just over the weekend, His Excellency spoke about that, and he said there's no issue. That judgment was given twice by the Supreme Court. But the governor of Cross River State said something. I wouldn't have time because the time is going to read what he said. But he has said, one, that I must re-echo here, not quoting verbatim. He says, neither Cross River nor Akwa Ibom is getting derivation from those oil wells. So, from 2012, that the judgment was given, Akwa Ibom has not gotten derivation payment from the 76 oil wells. His Excellency says we should pray. Cross River State government says they are working. What is your take? This issue is going to be handled separately as a standalone, but maybe even in a minute. What is your take? What should really be our position over that before we now start to cry, had we known?
You can never lose when you are proactive.
That's right.
If Akwa Ibom State wishes to retain the 76 oil wells and work towards the realization of the derivatives, then they must be proactive. The government must act, and act fast, as if the state government is acting alone, regardless of what the Cross River State government is doing. Because the Cross River State government cannot work in the interest of Akwa Ibom State.
Absolutely.
The Akwa Ibom State government must move, and move very fast, for two reasons. First, to determine whether it is really true that Akwa Ibom State government is not benefiting from the 76.
He said it. I'm quoting him.
No, the governor Otu said that.
Governor Otu said
but
that.
It is now. Remember what our governor said about the 700 billion. He asked the question, where are they getting this data from? So he might as well ask the same question. Where is Governor Otu having this information from? So it is in the interest of Akwa Ibom State
to dig deep into this matter.
To dig a lot deeper than that, to determine first, is the state benefiting from these oil wells? If it is not, a mechanism needs to be put in place like yesterday, to ensure we recover, not just recover the oil wells, and retain them, but benefit from them.
Not just benefit, we must get the derivation to be paid in arrears. We are hearing this from Open Forum with Citizen MKO. We are an ideas bank for development, good leadership, and nation building. There is more to this. I have two experts. I am available to be reached, to bring people that would sit in a room. They don't want to be known. They are not looking for appointment. I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for appointment from government. I can help government in any way that I'm doing. We need some insider information to be able to cure this. It's only known. This was said at the Saturday, March 15 Government House Monthly thing. So people that go to worship and pray, and they don't have contribution to make, they may be very happy. But the aspect that we have not been getting derivation should strike anybody that knows what it means to lose funds. Here we go. Yes, sir. Take, sir.
That's right. This state, Akwa Ibom, is not only blessed by God with natural resources. I would consider Akwa Ibom to be one of the most blessed states in terms of human capacity. Everything that we need in terms of human capacity, we have intelligent, internationally connected individuals
Absolutely.
in these states. Those resources are available to His Excellency. Unfortunately, many have not been contacted. His Excellency needs to fish out these individuals.
Absolutely.
Utilize their experiences and nip some of these little challenges in the bud. Whatever little challenge we have in the finance industry, in the economy, everywhere in the oil industry, Akwa Ibom State has the human capacity to deal with them. And it's about time we begin to tap into these resources.
So His Excellency can as well think of having a private think tank. People that don't need to be known. I've said this before. A think tank. All these political jamborees, celebrations, and services, it goes nowhere. It goes absolutely nowhere because there are people that know far beyond, far more than that. We said so during our last administration, even the other ones, but someday when our document comes out.
You mentioned that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead, sir.
You mentioned that. I decided deliberately to avoid that recommendation. You know why?
Why, sir?
Because somebody might be saying, oh, Professor Moore, he's looking for a job.
No.
I am an old man, retired, and very happy to be home, can serve my state, but I'm not looking for a job.
No, I am one of the youngest living old men. I have said by the grace of God, I'm going to be 60 by August, and by the grace of God, get ready for my book. Very soon I may shut down some things just to be concentrated on that book. Is going to be a compendium of consequence. I'm not looking for a government appointment. I have my reason. But I can contribute beyond whosoever is holding an office that has a budget of 1 trillion. I can do that. I'm not boasting. I can do that. Like I said, people do something with 1 billion. I do it just by faith. And that's what we are doing. Thank you, Prof. We are hitting the ground running big time. Now we've crossed over to political godfatherism, and we are not going to spend more than 5 minutes on this because Rivers State, we have a number of Akwa Ibom sons, we have a number of Nigerians, the national community in Rivers State, but something called godfatherism, we are not here to define godfatherism by what the dictionary or whatever says, but I know there's something called mentor. I know I have knelt down as recent as some. In fact, very recently, I have knelt down to plead some persons to father me, to be my mentor. And some of the people I knelt down to beg to be my mentor turned out to be pure evil. And God saved me from them. I keep looking for people to mentor me. The first day I met you, deliver paper, Professor Kwaneko's paper, at a CSO event. That was my first time ever seeing you in my life. I screamed. And you were making some reference about me. You met me. You only used to hear my name and all that. And we bonded. And when I finally met with Professor Kwaneko, let me not say something here. Now, those are mentors. I have them in royal fathers. But there are some areas you don't have them. Now, political mentorship. Or they call it, it's not mentorship, godfatherism. Please, sir. Let's not go to big-time definitions for whatever. What is going on in Rivers State between Nyesom Wike and Fubara? Enough that Pandef would Ogbonwota, as the co-chairman of the Board of Trustees, with His Excellency J.H. Swift, went to Mr. President to plead him that the chair of the committee Ogbonwota chaired to mediate has become unsuccessful because Wike is not responsive. Now, Wike has talked back. Less than 24 hours after that meeting with the president, Wike called them names. And there's a press statement here. There's no time to read it. But it is so damning that Wike is not ready for anything other than what he wants, which he says is his structure. He is the godfather of Fubara. Fubara must obey him. They have songs where they tie a goat to a stick. And to a rope, and they were turning the goat. Obey Wike.
Fubara, you must obey Wike. They were moving the goats like that. What should be the way forward out of this mess before militants who are threatening, God forbid, now want to show that they are also there? Yes, sir.
Is Godfatherism real in Nigerian politics? It reigns supreme. The Rivers State problem as it stands rests squarely on the shoulders of President
Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Absolutely.
Simple reason. After the presentation by Pandef, Mr. President is said to have instructed them to go counsel Fubara, meaning that the problem is not the 27 decampees whom he clearly identified as the new 27
APC members. In writing.
That's right. Now, if he says to Pandef, I've heard you, but please go counsel Fubara. So what happens is that Mr. President is categorically saying that the problem in Rivers State is that the godson has decided not to listen to the godfather.
This issue will not go away soon because we are getting the right bullets, the right direction from Professor of Digital Sciences. We want to leave it there. We have so much details and insight and videos that shows that what is happening, also bearing in mind that the father of godfatherism in Nigerian politics is Mr. President. And so if he's also having a godson in Wike to be able to have Rivers, and this mess is going on and something is not done, despite our most eminent people, including real fathers, going to plead, we must be on guard. Don't leave your brain to anybody. Don't leave your brain to anybody to control. Thank you so very much. The last topic we're going to take before we open the phone lines happen to be the upgrade of Akwa Ibom State College of Education, Afa to University of Education. And the promo we did was that we are going to analyze the open forum position paper and then more. That more is that Prof is a subject matter expert when it comes to this. On Wednesday, February 26, the public hearing was held for a bill for a law to provide for the establishment of Akwa Ibom State University of Education, Afa, and to make provisions for its administration and for other purposes connected thereto. This is contained in the letter that was sent to Open Forum to be part. We thank the House of Assembly, the Speaker, for recognizing Open Forum as a think tank and a public policy ideas bank. We did make our presentation on that 26. We were not given opportunity to give oral, which is one bad thing that has been happening severally. We cannot do public hearing with just 2-3, sometimes less than 2 hours, and then just submit and go. There are things we have to say, because the position that we took, only one group, which is Afa Village Council, had a similar position like us. What was our position? Our position was that we do not need just a University of Education. What we need should be a University of Education and Entrepreneurial Development, or University of Education and Enterprise, or University of Education and Innovation, because the world is moving to skill. All the graduates that have worked with and are still working with Open Forum, we have not had the time to go and verify their qualifications. You come with what you can do. We are hiring skills, not paper qualification. So let us start from there, Prof. What's your take? That Afa, we never knew this. I never knew it. That 2023-2024, they had 23 NCE students. 2024-2020, that's 2024. It was the rector that said so. They had about 23. This time I think they have about 26. Our people are no longer want NCE. And thank God there's a Federal College of Education. So the middle manpower can still be trained there. But if Akwa Ibom State wants to do what Cross River did just in January. Cross River State did their own, and they call it University of Education and I think Entrepreneurship. So, what is your take? That we had 23 students to 265 staff, and nobody raised alarm. And they were going about their business, collecting their salaries. Can we move forward with just another degree paper qualification center? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. You know, when I heard about the plan to upgrade the College of Education to a degree awarding body, I wasn't that excited, because to have a university of education good enough for the education sector, but the world has moved away a long time ago from unitary sectors. You have a mix of everything: engineering, innovation, technology, medicine. And by the way, not too long ago, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, who I would for this purpose address as Dr. Umar Basi Eno, gave out tons of money to several individuals and groups for entrepreneurial purposes.
That's right.
And I sat back in my study and I said, Your Excellency, you've done well. But can we evaluate this 12 months down the line?
That's right.
What results shall we have? Because entrepreneurship is a calling. You can't become an entrepreneur because somebody asks you to become an entrepreneur.
Yes.
No.
Impossible.
You can run a small business. No doubt about that. And there are several small businesses, which I keep telling people, you own a small business, you are not an entrepreneur because you own a small business. Take the case of a barbing salon. It's a small business. If the barber is not there, the shop is closed. But an entrepreneur is completely different. To become an entrepreneur, you must first become a capitalist. And under the capitalist agenda, there are 4 compelling principles. Number 1, that of freedom. You must be free to venture, free to do as you wish. Number 2, you must be willing to take risks. You must be willing to take risks. Then you must be happy to own private properties, and that private properties must be properly protected. And in all of that, the 4th principle is that all of that must be done responsibly. As an entrepreneur, you must imbibe responsibility in all ways. And so when you call a barber or a peanut vendor and say, oh, you are an entrepreneur, take 50,000 and go do your business. Beautiful.
But you're not started.
We haven't. That won't take us anywhere. Take us back to the College of Education. Recall that many years ago, Obawata thought of the idea of creating a technically minded university.
Wait. Let me just add to that. One of our advocacies that we did that during our last town hall meeting where Professor Panico was the guest speaker, and we made that pronouncement that the Akwa Ibom State University of Science and Technology that was envisioned by Obawata should be restored. And then the current Akwa Ibom State University should remain, but the location should change. Move the headquarters to here, site a campus, move the headquarters of Akwa Ibom State University to Obiokwa, move a campus to any of the government area in Oro, while the Science and Tech University, I've seen the master plan. There's nothing like it. Should remain. You are take on that, and then because there is an advocate I want to do, so you can just open the phone line even for 5 minutes.
The
10 flies when we are doing a good
That's right. But I can tell I was going to tie that to the beautiful job done by the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. for the speed which they use in passing that bill.
It was passed, I think, on Thursday.
I commend them. They did a brilliant job within the limits of what was presented to them. Just give us a university of education. Now His Excellency Dr. Moyo has an additional responsibility. He should move the bar a little higher
That's right.
and include science and technology. That way, we could bring back Akwa Ibom State University of Science and Technology through the back door. It might be easier and faster to accomplish that. And within those technical elements, redesign.
It's a challenge, yes, sir. I'm sorry to cut in because it's a conversation I have buried myself into. The idea Bonta brought, the vision, that location, anything that moves that very University of Science and Technology from that very location is to be called University Town. It does not have a name. Not Korapadi, not the Ibn or not the Okurite. University Town. There's no other location that can house that for what they needed to achieve. What we are to incorporate here will be Dakada Skill Acquisition Center, which we propose. We've sent this thing to His Excellency. We've sent a copy to the Commissioner for Education, who happens to be somebody, very brilliant person. I've known him before now. Let's hope he's going to do his best to change how things work. Now, if cannot be science and tech, let the skill acquisition be incorporated. What's your thought? Because no matter what it takes, we will do a podcast with you. You have so much to say. The phone line has to be open for 1 minute. Yeah, takes.
The Dakada Center is well positioned for its purpose, and it's accomplishing it. The only challenge that they have is funding. If you ask somebody from my village to attend Dakada Skills Acquisition Center, rather than stay with a local carpenter to learn carpentry and pay so much money, it's not going to do it. But if the government decides to fund it 100%, Dakada Acquisition Center can transform Akwa Ibom from what it is today to either Japan or South Korea in terms of technological development. Go back to the College of Education. The difference is this. Have you been to that campus before?
Yes.
The campus spreads all over to the river, to the riverbank. And even the shipping and water technology can be accommodated on that campus.
That's the aspect that I was looking at the original site.
Beyond that, there's an Akwa Ibom son that established a shipbuilding company somewhere around Oduwana.
Nofin, something like that. Nofin.
Yes, Nofin. Yes. It is nothing what I have very close relationship with it. The window of opportunity presented by that organization many years ago
can be tapped.
Can still be tapped into today.
Let's tap from the public. If it's just one call, is enough. But the important thing is that you have whatever idea that you need. The phone line to call, maybe just a caller, is 0803 085 7755. Or you call 0809 066 6909. If you have anything to share, even for a minute. I wouldn't let Prof go. We have a caller already. Yes. Hello, good morning. Lucky caller.
Yes, good morning. No worries. Good morning to the Locono.
Yeah, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
In the studio.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, my name is Nick. I'm calling from Abak.
Well, go ahead. Very brief, 30 seconds.
Okay, I wanted to ask a question and also contribute. Will it be totally wrong if the College of Education is meant to be a campus under the president of the College of State University? When you made a faculty of education, and then all other courses and be added to remove down here. Because the idea of putting up a brand new university doesn't make a lot of sense to some of us.
What's the next idea? Your time. What's the next idea?
It's gone.
Like I said, I would have loved to see a situation that the faculty of education is moved to take the University of
It's okay. Thank you very much. Let's take it. Thank you. Let Prof say something because we are actually out of time. Prof, What's your take?
It's a wonderful idea from the young man, but let him remember, the more, the merrier. We have close to 12,000 Akwa Ibom sons and daughters that apply to go to the University of Uyo every year, and the university can't absorb more than 10% of that. If such students have places to go to Akwa Ibom State University, University of Science and Technology, or University of Education, Science and Technology, which I'm advocating,
yes, sir.
Perhaps it will help our skills, including the strengthening of the Dakada Skills Acquisition Center.
There is a roadmap, educational roadmap in Akwa Ibom under the government administration. It was put together by Professor Hilary Young in 30 seconds. That roadmap has not been implemented. What would be your recommendation?
I would very much plead, not recommending, I would plead
Thank you, sir.
with Doctor. He is an academic now, because after governorship he could decide to come to the classroom. He's a young man.
That's right.
I will plead with His Excellency, dust that report, bring it back to life, and let Akwa Ibom implement it for the best future for our children.
The last one, we advocate that tertiary education should be moved from Ministry of Education to the Deputy Governor's office, because not much has been happening in terms of its supervision of tertiary education in the Akwa Ibom State. What's your take? 20 seconds.
I believe that because of the number of tertiary institutions in Akwa Ibom State, it could still remain under the Ministry of Education for now.
Oh.